Good afternoon and welcome to the seminar. We're starting a little bit late today, but yeah, whenever we're ready, we're going to listen to the people who worked on the DIVE project. And yeah, the floor is yours whenever you would like to begin.
Thank you, Paulo, and thank you all for joining us today. And we have a ton of time zones in the world, and these things happen. And thank you so much for your patience and still staying with us. So my name is Başak ÇERMİKLİ AYVAZ. I'm one of the people on the DIVE team. DIVE is an idea that I was really hoping to turn into reality, and I'm very proud that we have made this happen with this wonderful team. And here we are. We're going to be sharing parts of our large project, but hopefully give you a sense of what we've done. And this is going to be about multilingual identity navigations today of pre-service English language teachers in Turkey, and some takeaways from the project DIVE. Next slide, please. So first off, let's start with our team, and let me introduce myself first, and then I'm going to turn the mic over to my teammates. My name is Başak ÇERMİKLİ AYVAZ, and I'm a doctoral student at Vanderbilt University in the Department of Teaching and Learning. I moved to the United States 7 years ago, and I have 2 sons who are growing up multilingual in the United States. So multilingualism has been something I've always been interested in, and it is practically like our daily existence. And I'm still very committed to understanding how multilingualism works in different contexts. And as someone who grew up in Turkey and who was educated in Turkey, I'm very invested in trying to contribute to any potential change in the world of ELT in Turkey. And I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Eda.
Hi, everyone. Again, welcome to our seminar today. And I am Eda AKGÜN ÖZPOLAT, and I have been working as an English language teacher for more than 10 years. As Başak, I'm raised and learn English language in Turkey, and we have had a unique case of multilingualism. And English was the first another language that I've encountered with, and since the moment that I'm interested with multilingual people, multilingualism, how it affects. And luckily, I have had the chance to work with multilingual learners during my job. Since I guess the first that I have started to work, I have had students from different and diverse backgrounds. So I feel always lucky, and all these background of my personal self and my working experience lead me to my PhD. I'm doing my doctoral studies at 9 Eylül University with İrem Hocam, and I'm focused on multilingual pedagogies, specifically with all these reasons: personal, academic, professional, and happy to be part of this project. İrem Hocam.
Yeah, hi everyone. I am a pre-service English teacher educator for more than 20 years in Izmir. I am also adult supervisor. We are doing her PhD together. As a pre-service teacher educator, I realized the need to prepare our pre-service teachers to teach multilingual learners in Turkey, because the atmosphere is changing in the country very rapidly, and our teachers are not ready for these changes. This is how we started with EDA, and our PhD is about preparing pre-service English language teachers to teach multilingual learners in the country through introducing multilingual pedagogies. Thank you so much, Emilia.
Hello, everyone. I'm excited to be here with my colleagues. My name is Emily Phillips Galloway, and I'm a faculty member at Vanderbilt University, which is in the US in Nashville, Tennessee. And the work that I do really looks at how to support teachers of multilingual students to really adequately utilize the incredible resources that those students bring to classrooms. And so this project, while centered in the Turkish context, has had a lot of relevance to the work that we do in Nashville, where many of our teachers are also supporting multilingual children, and also doing so for the first time for many of them. And so I'm sure as you watch the presentation today, you'll start to see some of the ways in which the work done in the Turkish context relates to your own. So I'm excited to be here, and I'll pass it off to our first presenter.
Okay, I'm going to take it over from here on, and we have a little interactive activity. We will be coming back to this at the end of this presentation, but would like you to stop and just take a few notes about your days of learning a language at a school, or it could be a formal educational environment. Think back to your experience of learning that language. What was it like? And what stuck with you throughout that experience? And being who you are today, what would you change? And let's keep thinking about that as we move forward in our presentation. We're going to give you 1 minute now, but do keep jotting down.
Yes.
Okay, let's move on to the next slide, please. Let's start with what Project Dive is. The name we initially offered for this acronym was Advancing Teacher Education for Culturally and Linguistically Diverse Classrooms, because that's what's at the heart of this project. And we would like to think about how we can support, and Dobrakna, if I'm saying your name right, thank you so much. We'll come back to these at the end of the presentation, these ideas, but thank you so much for sharing. And I didn't want to let this go in the chat unnoticed. This is a US State Department funded research practice partnership between 9 Eylül and US Vanderbilt University, and it started in 2022, and it's been ongoing since. The grant cycle ended formally in April, but we are still keeping our research going. So the team is my advisor, Dr. PHILLIPS Galloway, as PI. I was a co-PI, and our collaborators are İrem and Eda from 9 Eylül University. We collaboratively designed a course and reiterated our design after each term. And our course was offered for 4 academic terms so far, reaching 25 to 50 pre-service teachers in each term, and each term lasted for 12 weeks. To recap, what we did as a team was to get together and design a syllabus for an elective course that aimed to equip pre-service English language teachers to serve in culturally and linguistically diverse classrooms in Turkey. And the main design principles while we were doing those were leveraging pre-service teachers' funds of knowledge and their own experiences as language learners, and supporting teachers in critically reflecting on their onto-epistemic perspectives on their language learning and teaching. Next slide, please. Moving on to the context that we prepared this course for, Turkey is a country that has received millions of refugees in the past decade. The official language is Turkish, and by the 21-22 academic year, there were 723,917 Syrian students who have been registered in the e-school system. This number, mind you, is only the Syrian students. We have many other students who are speakers of other languages at home as heritage languages, language speakers. So we have a linguistically diverse setting in Turkey. a monolingual view of education and of society at large has also been at play, which has been making it hard to think and talk about culturally and linguistically diverse classrooms in pre-service teacher education. And another thing that we have come to recognize, is as we were discussing our own educational experience, especially those of us in the team who were raised and educated in Turkey, we know, and having taught there for more than a decade myself too, we know our students as well as ourselves, we are dismissive of our own multilingual identities with this inherent native speakerism that has been, attached to our understanding of language learning. So what we tried to do with this course design and implementing this, we tried to do this to shift this paradigm a little bit and make a bit of a change. This course was implemented at 9 Eylül University in the English Language Teacher Program. And 9 Eylül University is a very large state university that houses this program. And this course was given as an elective course, and we appealed between 25 to 50 students each term that we have offered this course, and it has been happening for 4 terms now. And since this project has the capacity to sustain itself now with our collaborators, this will keep going. So it hasn't finished. The grant has finished, but the impact hasn't. Let's move on to the next slide, please. So the theoretical background and the theoretical frameworks that we're drawing on are the critical sociocultural theories that are looking into the power dynamics, the equity, the social justice aspects in language learning and literacy areas. How do these power-related concepts impact language learning? How are language hierarchies shaping the language learning field where we are looking at these things? And the critical multilingualism that has been discussed for over several decades now is taking new ways of seeing, new perspectives of looking at multilingual classrooms, because the world is changing. People are moving from different places to other places for many different reasons. And the classrooms are looking very different now from when people first started thinking about critical multilingualism. Thinking about multiple things, multilingualism, multimodality, we also draw from multiliteracy and multimodality. So thinking about the global shifts, the students, the pre-service teachers, and their prospective students have been learning languages through a variety of mediums and modes. So multimodality is at the very center of language learning as we know it today. And multiliteracies are a part of this. And, essentially this theory is saying there's a variety of tools and texts and products that are conveyors of this literacy, teachers of this literacy for the learners. And this is something that we have also tried to leverage throughout our course design. Next slide, please. So overall, in our project, we reimagine English language teaching by moving from a narrow focus on reading and writing to a broader focus on moving fluidly between reading, writing, speaking, and listening. So instead of siloing skills, we're trying to combine them more fluidly. And from viewing languages as needing to be kept separate, we're moving to an understanding of language as interconnected within the mental architecture of multilingual. So we're not thinking about languages, and this is not just us. It has been established in the field, in the literature, that now we know languages are not silos, are not compartmentalized in our minds. We're working them all together at once as our holistic repertoires. Linguistic repertoires are acting together to make meaning for us. And especially for multilingualism, this is something incredibly important, and it's something that cannot be undermined. And from teaching English grammar explicitly disconnected from meaningful content to teaching grammar embedded in content as a system for meaning making in the world. Next slide, please. thinking about the learners and teachers, we're moving from a view of students as learners of English first. We're moving to an understanding of students as dynamic meaning makers, so though able to use all knowledge and language resources. They are not passive receivers, but rather active interactioners, joining in the learning and teaching of this language. From a view of teachers as knowledge givers to an understanding of teachers as co-learners and thinkers. And from an understanding of the classroom as the primary place we learn language to an understanding that we learn language in hybrid ways across, inside and outside of school settings, online, with friends, families, at school. This is how we learn naturally, and this is how it happens, but we have mostly contained it to the classrooms, but we're trying to transcend this understanding. Next slide, please. So learning from our own histories as English language learners, why do we do that? We want to show that our own stories can inform how we teach. If we do not examine how language is, how we learn the language, we are likely to teach as we were taught. And that's not the best way always, right? We know that. And how do we do that? Understanding our language resources as visual, interconnected aspects of ourselves. So the language and the language resources are not separate entities from who we are. We kind of grow into one another over time. Next slide, please.
And thank you. Yeah. So for based on all these theoretical and conceptual background, as Başak clearly explained and beautifully explained, we co-designed as a team and we co-delivered this course. Pre-service teachers who took this course agreed to participate voluntarily, and I will share the data from one cohort, from one specific cohort that we have done, completed, and in the following parts, I'll use pseudonyms to ensure the participants' confidentiality. So our course, as Başak briefly explained, is lasted for 12 weeks, and we have had 2 different modules. In the first module, we introduced theories, basic concepts, and pedagogical approach that will help pre-service teachers better understand the concept of multilingualism, as well as the dimensions of the diversity that shape English language learning. In the second module, we focused on more specifically the strategies, the practices, the pedagogies to support multilingual learners in their future classrooms. That's why we introduced translanguaging and multilingual pedagogies, and we relied on the power of these strategies, and they were being enabled much more fluidly and much more explicitly. And while we are giving this course, we aim to provide a wide perspective to better understand the role of multimodality through various modes. As you can see, we have used different pedagogical tools, and we wanted to emphasize how pre-service teachers as multilingual speakers utilize, generate, and interpret all their various linguistic resources and signs, and how they communicate across contexts and participants and perform their own subjectivities. And first of all, we have used Flipgrid as a platform. We have used Flipgrid videos. Both us as researchers and our pre-service teachers prepared introductory videos. In these videos, we have shared our interactions with different languages. Then we focused on the identity works of pre-service English teachers, and they have created their own language autobiographies and language portraits. And these tools enabled them to help reflect on their linguistic repertoires and literacy journeys. And then they also drew their language portraits using different colors to reveal the extensive spectrum of their experiences, emotions, and resources. And during this course, we asked them to reflect on their understanding, and they wrote written reflections such as narratives, and they have prepared capstone projects for their future. And we have also asked them to share their linguistic selves, where they have shown their interactions at different communities, different levels. And they also created their significant circles, and these also enabled them to share the things matters them most, such as the objects, the people, the institution. They were written in a circle depending on the relevance to their lives. And I'll share some examples of these tools in a moment. On the basis of these theoretical frameworks, we aim to underscore the interactions of pre-service teachers with multilingualism. And we categorize them into 3 phases, which are past, present, and future. Aligning with the definition of identity from a post-structuralist perspective, we believe that identity can be explored through various dimensions of individuals. Thus, as we believe that teachers' lives, prior beliefs, and identities beyond the classroom, experiences in the past as students, as learners, and the previous apprenticeships of observation play a greater role in shaping who they become as teachers, as teacher candidates. And I'd like to share some specific works of pre-service language teachers as they are representing the leveraging role of multimodal engagement and teaching, both learning and teaching in a multilingual environment. So to start with the past, the experiences of pre-service teachers informed us how they built up their linguistic journeys at the very beginning. So for instance, Ayça, she shared her learning experience was affected by her teachers. And she described her early school years experiences as lack of fun until meeting another teacher. The second teacher that she met created a meaningful learning space for her. And further, she explained how media and multiliteracy skills played roles in her language learning experiences. As we are all aware, we are bound to different medias and resources to develop our languages. So Ayça was aware also of this fact. And on the other hand, different from Ayça, Kuzey had a different relation with language learning experience, the first contact. His father was working with tourists and was using English on a daily basis. So he decided to teach English to Kuzey, and he described this experience was helping him to engage with the English language learning. And later on, he also described that he had lots of people, his surroundings were foreigners, and all these enabled him to master English language at first hand, just not related to schooling experience. And he got later interested in Japanese as another language through multimedia resources again. And second, for the second part, we focus on the present self-representations of the pre-service teachers through linguistic self and significant circle activities. Since linguistic self charts offered a deeper understanding towards how they define themselves in relation to languages. And these, for example, in Arzu's case, this showcase how different languages are already inherent in their lives. And this activity helped Arzu to reflect on the languages that are already existing as a rich resource. And for Deniz's linguistic self, again, we see on daily basis, she is interacting with different languages and at different places with different people. In a significant circle activity where they position the important things, as I have said earlier, in their lives, in a circle, we still encounter different languages. They realize once again how languages are prominent parts of their selves. And after doing these activities, pre-service teachers found the chance to share it with each other. It was also an opportunity to open up and learn from each other. For example, in Eliza's significant circle, we realized that Eliza is a pre-service teacher who is an international student from Georgia, and we realized that some of her peers see that Eliza has also different and a rich linguistic resource and has many things going on with her life. And lastly, we came across with the future projections of pre-service teachers. Pre-service English language teachers shared their imagined future practices. For example, İlknur questioned the way that English was taught to her. Rather than old-fashioned ways and based on her own learning experience, she is eager to engage her future students' linguistic resources more. She sees that her future students' linguistic resources are assets, and it is necessary to depend on what they bring to the classroom. Similarly, Gizem also stated that she wanted to learn about her future students better, both linguistically and personally, and she was aware that her future students' abilities, funds of knowledge, and funds of identities will provide her to create a more meaningful teaching environment. So to sum up, we can infer that these points can be highlighted as the outcomes of our project. Pre-service English language teachers developed awareness toward their own multilingual identities. This was not something they have discussed before. They haven't shared with each other. They found this chance to represent themselves and leverage their own identities with the help of multilingual sense. And also they valued multilingualism not only in their communities, also beyond their communities. They started to question and understand what is going on among their friends and why it is valuable. And when we look at the final outcome, the way that we see it as very prominent, they leverage their understanding of multilingualism as an asset. Rather than a deficit, rather than a thing that stuck their way, they have come to realize that multilingualism helps them to understand the world better, to understand their students better, since they were also aware how our brain functions, how the languages are located in our minds. They were much more aware the value of the leveraging role of multilingualism. And finally, they explored new ways to engage with multilingual learners. So these were the practical sides that we have realized. And last but not least, we also got post-course feedbacks from our pre-service English language teachers. After the course, sometimes they came to us to chat, sometimes they texted, sometimes they emailed about what they have been thinking. This was not a thing that they have seen at the course and they just left home and then done nothing. No, it wasn't something like that. We would like to share some examples also regarding this part. For example, Yağmur wanted to apply for an MA program on multilingual studies, and she shared that she was affected both by the course content and the delivery way of the course and decided to pursue an MA program abroad. And similarly, Sezen also shared that she had been accepted to work in a project and also got accepted for an MA program at Leuven University. And we are happy for her. And then she was also really happy because according to her, during the interview, they asked about what we have done during the course, what happened, and the part that she played, the activities that we have done, and these all are encouraged her to go on with this topic. And so to sum up, we can say that on the professional side, pre-service English language teachers were encouraged to apply for MA programs. This is not a one-shot thing, as the course is not determined to be applied or determined to be done for a certain period. We are planning to keep it going. So they are making it part of their lives. They participated in different projects and they interested in working with multilinguals worldwide. At every end of the course or later the course, we have come across with volunteers to work with multilinguals in different parts of the world, not specific to Turkey. And they also commented on the effects of the course on their lives. They have gained a deeper understanding about the multilingualism as an asset. So now it is time to turn back to what do you think? So if we think about the question in the beginning, so we are always questioning, we are always asking this question to each other as a team when we are together. In what settings have we learned English or different languages? How other languages or how additional languages informed our language learning journey? And what are the modalities that we have interacted? And especially, what do you think about the power, since that we are all aware language, what language matters to whom is related to the power relations, and these all shaped our learning. And we realize that all these means how we teach English. So we can, I guess, if you have written, we can check the chat box. Together, would you like to help me? İrem, Başak, Emily?
Sure.
Oh, mm-hmm.
İrem, you go ahead.
Or if you haven't sent it yet, you can still share it with us.
I see that we have some of our pre-service here in the session. I see Gökdeniz, I see Ege, Oğuz, Betül, my PhD student. Is there anything you want to add, Gökdeniz, Oğuz, that we haven't, talked about the course? Or any contribution you want to make? You can write in the chat box as well. And also maybe one of the students who we talked about, in fact, is here. Maybe we don't want to keep her, we want to keep her anonymous, but she's here, and I know that she's planning to apply for an MA abroad after the course. If that student is okay, she can also write something in the chat box or talk to us. If not, we can talk about our own impressions of the course.
Let me jump in as people are maybe just thinking around, and no pressure, you don't have to speak up,
Sure.
but we would love to hear from you, but still feel free to drop in the chat or tell us what you think. Oh, we have some
Ege.
something from Ege. Yeah.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Ege.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So I think this is like something, so Ege mentions this, and I think he like hits the nail on the head. This is something that is that seems quite simple, but we don't get to do a lot in the way we learn how to teach. So we don't get to analytically deconstruct and reflect on, like critically reflect on how we learned languages. What did it to like do for us? What worked? What didn't work? And what aspects could we reimagine for our future classrooms? Especially at the pace that the world is changing, the classrooms are changing, I think it is even more relevant that we reflect and think about these experiences and critically reimagine how we can reconstruct these things to serve the new classrooms, the new demographics in the classrooms with our new priorities, perhaps. Right. So I think one of the things that I noticed in this throughout this project, and from our pre-service teachers' feedback and from our discussions with our team, is that this reflection, this reflective and reflexive piece has been fundamental, and not only for the pre-service teachers, but I think also for the team too. We also got to think back and talk about, okay, this happened, now this might look a little different, and how might we think about that, right? And we got to compare different contexts. The US and Turkey. US has been studying and thinking around multilingualism in the classroom for a longer time. And Turkey has not had as much experience in integrating multilingualism in the classroom practice instruction. So we have a little ways to go, but I think we have made a great start in trying to compare and think and find our footing in how we can make this happen. I'm going to turn it over to some of my other colleagues or some of the participants, perhaps.
Or we can share we can go on with the part. Başak, you have summarized what we all think as a team in
Yeah.
a brilliant way.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
So at the end, we all agree that the reimagining classrooms together means like what we know about authentic knowledge that we have inform our teaching. It is, of course, it is dynamic, it is multimodal, and it is not stable. It is a holistic entity. And the first thing that both as a teacher and a researcher, I am all aware that every student, every individual bring a rich linguistic and cultural experiences and histories to the classrooms. And at the end, understanding that both us and our learners need to be motivated to engage with new languages. And sometimes it is not easy to do that, because when we think about it as just a subject or a topic that we need to cover and then finish, it is much more challenging. However, when we understand the purposes that resonate with us and our imagined selves, our past experiences, it becomes much more meaningful for all of us. That's we think. So we would like to thank you for listening today and for being with us. And I'd like to thank again for the US Mission, the Regional English Language Office, for their support during this project. And if you have questions or thoughts that you'd like to share, we will be more than happy.
Yaren and Ege has added
Yeah.
some ideas in the chat. These are wonderful.
Yeah.
You guys, you have no idea how
Yeah.
happy this makes us hearing from you, and
Yeah,
especially
thank you
these
so much.
wonderful words
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
insights.
may I just suggest that if you want to tell the audience what we are about, because the chat is not being recorded.
Oh
Oh, really?
no.
Oh, yeah. Another student has also written, Başak. Maybe we can
Yes.
talk about their comments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yaren,
absolutely.
Yaren, Rümeysa, Yaren, we know you, Eda, and I know you really well, and we are so happy that you have decided to go on with a master's degree after this course, which made us very, very, very happy as instructors. And as you said, if it is the case, I am very happy. You say you have contributed many things to us, from education to multiculturalism, and you have shown us how we can integrate what is around us into our lesson. I think in this sense, this course was unique because before the course, students were not even aware that there were multilingual learners waiting for them to teach English outside. But when we brought this topic into the classroom, they suddenly became aware of the fact that there are so many multilingual learners outside, and they are, even as pre-service teachers, multilingual learners themselves, because they are learning other languages, they are in interaction with other languages. So this was a kind of self and social awareness that we have co-developed within the scope of the course, which was really good. And again, goes on the pedagogies. I think with the pedagogies we use in the course, and I think he focuses on the reflection part Eda enabled them to do with the help of the tools she has used. And Ege says, it is difficult to see how or where you learn something in retrospective. So our course provided, and Eda's multilingual pedagogies practices provided that space for them to revisit their previous learning experiences and to relate them to their present selves as pre-service teachers, and even to relate it, to imagine it in their future practices as English teachers. So as Eda said, from a post-structural perspective, they brought the present, past, and the future together, which was great. Thank you, Ege. Thank you for making us understand this. It is great.
And these all became available and then meaningful with your contributions, with sharing what you have had in your mind, like sharing your ideas in here chat box. You were always so engaging with the course, and then we were always so engaging as a team. So it was also like not only the four of us are the team now, like we are like a huge group of team conducting this project.
And at the end of the course, students prepared capstone projects, as Eda mentioned. Gökdeniz prepared a wonderful one. Maybe we can share it in another session if Gökdeniz lets us use his project. And he says that he is very happy to be involved in such a project because this project enabled him to prepare, for his future as a pre-service English teacher. He says that I realized, let me just read. This is all. This is the most efficient one because in this assignment I learned how to teach multilingual learners, students, as a pre-service teacher, which is very important. The course seems to have prepared them for their future career as well.
And I think it's been interesting, and Oğuz also mentions this, and I think Ege also mentioned this. This kind of reflecting back on your experiences kind of make you realize, oh yeah, this is why I did this, and this is how this helps me, and this is how I can use it better. So with the time to really reflect on what happened and to kind of think on it, I think the pre-service teachers definitely got a unique opportunity to really profoundly think about what learning languages was like for them since they first interacted with different languages, and then how it might look now at a different time in their prospective classrooms through using the tools that we have devised together. So I'm incredibly proud and happy to hear all of these.
Yeah, Başak, I totally agree with you that we urgently need that reflexive and reflective space in our teacher education curricula, where students, pre-service teachers can critically analyze their past and relate their past experiences with their present selves and with what they learn at the faculty, and then carry it to the future as prospective teachers. I think this is missing in our context in the country, and this course provided that space which is very much needed for reflection and reflexivity.
I agree.
So thank you so much for helping us, for supporting us, you know, to create such a wonderful course for our Turkish pre-service teachers.
Oh my God, this has been like, as a team, we are very proud at every step of the way, hearing about pre-service teachers, and we keep working on the syllabus. We reiterate on it. We're always talking about how we can make it better, and the project is ongoing. The research is ongoing. I will be coming actually to visit and, you know, do some more work on the course with Eda and Irem. And this is one of the, I think, unique aspects that many projects don't get to enjoy, but this project is now sustainable, and it will be sustained through this syllabus, through the contributions of faculty and doctoral students who are interested in multilingualism. And it is going to be a fundamental preparation for pre-service teachers of English who are going to serve in linguistically and culturally diverse classrooms.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I actually had some questions about the project, and thank you again so much for this wonderful presentation and for covering this topic. Because as you know, in ELINET we are interested in multilingualism, but we are also covering other areas, and multilingualism is really one of the possible answers to one of the issues that we're interested in, which is essentially the fact that despite research that shows that EMI, so English medium instruction, doesn't, there really isn't any good justification for pushing EMI. Nevertheless, it keeps spreading. It keeps spreading, and the idea that at the very beginning of the presentation you mentioned native speakerism, the idea that English only, this monolingual perspective, is the best and possibly the only way to learn the language. So definitely raising awareness is extremely important in the teachers, but do they ever experience challenges in actually implementing the things that they've learned?
I can actually speak to this. I just recently did an interview with one of the participants actually, and that was something we also talked a little about, because this is something that I, growing up in Turkey and being a student in Turkish classrooms, I'm aware that multilingualism as a concept and as pedagogy is a hard thing to tackle in the classrooms that we have currently, as the society at large is not considered multilingual, and there's a Turkish only policy in place. However, this is, again, as many things are, it's a very contextual and locale specific phenomena, where you could find, for example, communities and pockets of communities where speaking, say, one language as their home and heritage language is totally normal in their typical daily practice alongside Turkish, and their classrooms are also, they have teachers who speak their home language as well as Turkish. So there's no problem of recognizing this as something out of the ordinary, or that recognizing this something as something that should not be happening, because this is their daily reality, living with these two languages in their communities and at school. However, there are some other areas in other languages that are completely pushed out and never ever invited in the classroom. And there are going to be times when teachers will feel not comfortable practicing translanguaging or inviting perhaps other languages in the classroom because of language policies. So there's the reality of the sociopolitical and sociocultural contexts of where these languages are spoken, and then there's the scientific literature that we follow. But at times, these two don't always align, right? So this is, I think, where it gets a little messy. But EMI being prioritizing English native speakerism is a legacy of colonialism, and it is a legacy of native speakers ideology that dictates that this is the only way, this is the right way, this is the one way we can do it. However, research shows that students learn better when you give them the resources. And there was a likening somewhere, I can't quite place the citation, but some language educator was saying, if you keep students in a classroom with instruction in a language they don't know, it's like keeping someone underwater without teaching them how to swim. So this is what happens when you don't give people the tools and then expect them to, you know, understand the instruction. So I think EMI is an interesting position where many countries are still trying to prioritize English speaking over their home languages. And that's the legacy that's still going on. But hopefully we'll make small changes.
Right. Yeah, thank you so much for the answer. And does anybody else in the chat, or if you want to open up your microphones, have any questions for our speakers? And if you cannot think of anything right now, I think they would be happy to get contacted at these addresses that you see on the slides.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I think that was all. There was somebody wrote something in the chat.
Yeah, I guess, can I stop sharing? Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for the presentation. I really appreciate that. And I want to remind everyone that this recording will be available as soon as possible on our YouTube channel. Just look for ELINET, and the title of the seminar will be the same as the title of this meeting. So you should be able to find it. We're still working on getting our YouTube channel a little bit more better structured, but we will see that as soon as possible. I will stop the recording now. Thank you again to everyone who participated.